Welcome to Intersection Conversations, the show where we dive into the ever-evolving world of workplace diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm your host, Jason, and today we're exploring the roots of our prejudices, this sense of primacy. Although many of our biases are not our fault, we will discuss ways we can begin to take cognitive control of those prejudices and biases. Diversity work. It involves recognizing how historical narratives, social norms, and institutional structures can perpetuate racial hierarchies and biases. Addressing these issues requires a conscious effort to question and dismantle the established norms and values that sustain racial inequities and to promote a more inclusive, equitable, and just society. Undermining the negative impact of primacy and supremacy, especially in the context of DEIA, diversity, equity, inclusion, and access efforts, involves a multifaceted approach. It requires conscious, deliberate actions at individual, organizational, and societal levels. Here are some strategies. Individual level. Encourage self-awareness and continuous learning about unconscious biases, the history of supremacy in various contexts, and the ways in which primacy can affect judgment and behavior. Organizational level. Implement training programs focused on DEIA, unconscious bias, and cultural competency. Ensure that these programs are not one-off events, but part of a continuous learning process. 2. Inclusive policies and practices, and regularly review organizational policies, procedures, and practices to identify and eliminate elements that may inadvertently favor the status quo or disadvantage certain groups. Hierarchical structures. Create structures and processes that promote equity. This can include equitable hiring practices, transparent promotion pathways, and fair compensation structures. Representation and participation. Diverse voices. Ensure that decision-making bodies, leadership positions, and influential roles within organizations are diverse and representative of the broader community. Inclusive decision-making. Foster an environment where diverse perspectives are not only welcomed, but actively sought out and considered in decision-making processes. So every foundation norms and standards, question and critically examine the default norms and standards in your organization and society. Recognize how these may have been shaped by historical supremacy and may continue to marginalize certain groups. You broaden standards, promote the acceptance and integration of diverse cultural norms, values, and practices. So I can ally shit. And encourage open dialogue. Foster an environment where individuals can discuss issues related to primacy, supremacy, and their impact without fear of retribution. Active allies. Encourage members of dominant groups to become allies who actively listen, learn, and use their privilege to advocate for change. Ensure as in continuous improvement. Measure and evaluate the effectiveness of DEIA initiatives and be transparent about the findings. Use this data to drive continuous improvement. Ensure that leaders at all levels are accountable for promoting DEIA, challenging the status quo, and actively working to dismantle supremacy structures. 7, community and societal engagement. Work with community organizations, advocacy groups, and other stakeholders to understand broader societal issues related to supremacy and primacy. Advocate for policies and legislation that promote equity and justice at the local, national, and international levels. Undermining the negative impacts of primacy and supremacy is not a one-time effort, but a continuous process of growth, learning, and structural change. It requires commitment, courage, and collaboration across all levels of society. Understanding these reactions is crucial, especially in contexts like DEIA initiatives, where challenging the status quo is often necessary to promote equity and inclusivity. Effective strategies to manage and navigate these reactions include clear communication, education, empathy, and the creation of inclusive spaces where individuals can express their concerns and engage in constructive dialogue. If you appreciate our approach diving into the roots of personal bias and other social reform topics with intellectual rigor and empathy, make sure to subscribe for future series released every month. And please, subscribe and share so we can continue to empower you to use as your voice. See you in our next series as we continue conversations equipping you with tools to challenge patterns that are enabling oppression through unconscious bias and prejudice. Be well